Mohammad Khan is recognized leader in mobile payment industry. Khan co-founded near-field communication NFC technology-based company Vivotech in year 2001. As its president and board member for 11 years, Khan converted the contactless NFC technology in the payment industry. Vivotech further gave boost to mobile payments like Apple Pay and Google Wallet by deploying first million NFC readers at a wide range of leading brand merchants in 35 countries. Khan has been granted with more than 20 US patents in mobile payments and marketing, and he is listed in the additional 25 US patent applications. Khan is a board member of SimplyTap and board advisor for Point, chairman of the board for Yellow Pepper. Currently, Khan is president, co-founder, and board member for OmniPay. Khan, welcome to the show.
Glad to be here.
So, NFC is kind of a subset of RFID, near-field communications, and you co-founded a company, Vivotech, based on NFC. So before we start any conversation, can you explain to our viewers what exactly is NFC?
So NFC is refers to near-field communication, basically wireless communication on a very small distance, about a few centimeters. And you may have already experience with NFC technology when you happen to be using Apple Pay or Android Pay or Samsung Pay, most of the cases, that you bring your, let's say, iPhone closer to the point of sale reader.
The reader, right.
And magic happens. The Touch ID mark shows up, you put the Touch ID on it, and then NFC kicks in, and you're able to initiate the payment transaction. And the transaction gets done very fast. So that's the Apple Pay experience, because I'm holding an iPhone. Technology behind that, when you bring it closer to the reader, that radio frequency communication that takes place is based on the standard called NFC.
Which is near-field communication.
Near-field communication.
So Apple Pay and Google Pay, it's kind of last couple of years it has picked up very nicely. But you have invented this technology, or you had worked on this technology about 11 years ago. So it looks like the mainstream media or mainstream market for NFC is kind of slow, or maybe you have invented or co-invented this company, Vivotech, which we are going to talk in a while. But it appears that the timing for the NFC, is it the right timing to start up a company based on NFC?
Yeah, so you have to take a step back in the payment industry. Payment looks very, electronic payments like Visa, MasterCard payment, or Amex Discover payment, looks very simple to the consumer, is made very simple. But that when the transaction takes place, when you swipe a card, or nowadays you insert a card, there's a lot of complexity that takes place behind the scenes, that transaction. It touches a lot of ecosystem players. So there are multiple places that transaction is going to go through by the time it hits the card issuer of that card and be able to prove the transaction, that the transaction gets settled. So payment industry behind the scene is very complex and is played by the multiple ecosystem players. Now, when NFC came out as a technology, that was embedded into the mobile device. Now, with that, the new ecosystem players come into the play as well. The carriers, which is the mobile network providers, like AT&T, Verizon, all of those players around the world as well. And then the device vendors, for example, Apple or Samsung or just Motorola and all those, or Huawei and those type of device makers. So ecosystem became a lot more complex. And now when you try to make the technology move within the payment industry alone, within the ecosystem, it takes years. Smart card, for example, was introduced, was 1988, was the time frame which was being used in France, and was 2001 when it started rolling out as the EMV smart card that we use the rest of the world. And now 2014, 2015 is being rolled out here in the US now. And you have been inserting the card rather than swiping the card. That EMV started in 1988, time frame or so. It takes time to get a technology and go through all of this complexity and become mature.
Right.
So that's one of the reasons. The second reason was an NFC on top of it. Is the technology, right now, when you limit that technology to a certain few applications only, that it sort of cut down the opportunities of growth. So today, NFC can be used by any application on an Android environment, but when it comes to iOS, only Apple Pay can use it. So there's some limitation. A lot of application providers who could be using NFC technology proactively, they can't because they cannot run their application on iPhone. So there's some other limiting factor because of that reason the growth has been slower.
Yeah.
But it has been growing quite well, but it's on a slow path. Yeah.
So when you founded VivoTech 2001 or 11?
2001,
2001, I guess. At that time, and when you raised money, and this was a funded company, right? And I guess you raised, what, $96 million, right?
That's right.
Tell us your experience when you were raising the money, and what was your intention? What was the objective of starting up a VivoTech?
Yeah, so I do remember that was 2002 when we received the first purchase order to build the product, and we developed the product and showed that product working and accepted by...
So what is this VivoTech about? What's the
this
product?
is around 2002. We've built the first NFC reader.
Reader, okay. Yeah.
Okay, contactless reader.
Right.
And for one of the network company, a very large network company, one of the two large network company. And when we got that device accepted, then our lead investor came and invested in us, was Alloy Ventures. Was a round A funding was done. So 6 months we quoted with them, showed them the progress that we made, and our objective was to take this contactless technology or NFC technologies to make it big. You have to ride elephants in the industry, and that was our strategy was. So we went after this top 3 payment network players, and one of them they decided to work with us, and when we wrote to develop a product and got accepted there, we got the first big check as part of the round A funding. We used that $5 million of funding over the next 2 years time frame, enable not only MasterCard was the first one, then we enabled American Express. So MasterCard did a pilot for NFC contactless technology in Orlando, Florida. American Express did a pilot in Phoenix. That was in 2003 timeframe or so. And I do remember McDonald's made an announcement with MasterCard to do a nationwide rollout with NFC readers in all of their stores nationwide. That was October 2003 timeframe or so. And at that time, we saw that the industry had started to take notice. This is real. And the rest of the players also came on board as well.
Okay, so your objective for co-founding this VivoTech was that was it always payment industry you were focusing on?
Absolutely. So just to give you a perspective, this is 34 years I've been in the payment industry. I was employee number 4 at Verifone, stayed there 15 years. As part of those 15 years, there are 2 very important things I did as part of the Verifone team and payment industry team. One is to make the magnetic stripe-based credit card or debit card mainstream line around the world. So I was head of the product when we took Verifone to international. And for 5 years, I took Verifone to about 100 countries, okay, and made that Visa, MasterCard accepted in those 100 countries. That was by the 1995 timeframe or so.
I see.
Okay, and then internet came in. We drove internet payment activities. And then HP bought Verifone out. Right. And then I basically, during that, the last 5 years, 7 years, a big portion of activity I worked on was also smart card technology, internet payments. So I've been into this forefront of things in the payment industry from day one. Right. And it was very natural to see what's the next big thing after I left Verifone, and mobile
payment was right.
So not only to make the mobile to be as a payment device, but also to make it as shopping assistant device to the consumer. That's the key. And now we see that thing, how mobile channel is becoming the most relevant channel for the consumer. I saw that thing in 2001 timeframe or so. It wasn't, my objective was not only to make the mobile device as a payment device. And these were we used to have feature phones in 2001, if you remember that. Yeah. Okay, we saw that such devices would become smart devices, would be connected to the networks. We saw that thing much early in the game or so. Maybe we were a little earlier than we should have been, possibly. But however, we did do a lot of work to pave the road to make the NFC real.
Right. So you did see an opportunity for retails also, right? Or retail expand. And this is what your company, where you are recently president, OmniPay, right? Tell us about this OmniPay. What does it do?
So OmniPay, we started 2.5 years ago. The whole objective was what we saw that there was a lot of fintech companies focusing on serving Visa, MasterCard of the world and the credit card or debit card of the world. But nobody was really focusing on how to serve the retailers, especially large retailers, most effectively, into this new mobile space, which we're calling now digital commerce space now, where the e-commerce and the mobile commerce and the physical commerce, they're all getting combined into what is referred as a digital commerce. So we saw that these large retailers, they're going to need a platform that could enable them to serve their customers most effectively, not only when they walk into their stores and be able to get a digitally enhanced shopping experience, and I'll come to that in what it means, but then also through any channel, whether e-commerce channel or mobile channel or any surface, we now are enabling any surface you can do a transaction from. And so, for example, just if we touch on in-store environment, today you walk into the stores most of the time versus when you walked into the same store 20 years ago. You would remember that thing that you would interact with a lot more people, associates in the store 20 years ago. Yeah. And today you sort of search for it.
Yeah, you had to look for the...
you have to look for it. And again, I would not blame the retailers to have a lesser number of associates because the competitive environment has forced that
competing against
because they're competing with the online players like Amazon or so. But however, what could be done that as I walk into the store, I have the mobile device. I'm using the mobile device by myself, trying to look at it, and sometimes do a search online, and sometimes I end up using Amazon app while standing in somebody else's door to look at the reviews as well or to look at the price. So what we saw that there was a great opportunity to enable the retailer own app with the full reach of utilities or functionalities. So I can use that retailer app and be able to know be able to buy basically right product at the right price with the right set of information.
So
at that time when I'm visiting the store and be able to enjoy that better experience rather than this.
So you are working B2B. So you are developing a software, this OmniPay, and you are providing to, let's say, a company like say Walmart or Macy's or anything like that. And then you give them, you become a backbone, right? I mean, it's not that you are selling.
That's what our objective is, that we don't reach out to the
consumer. You don't reach the consumers, right?
Remember I said it's better to ride elephants?
Yeah.
Okay. So we work with the large retailers. So we are focusing top 100 large retailers in the US and many large retailers outside of US as well. Enable them with our platform, these capabilities as part of their own app so that they maintain direct relationship with their customer. They drive these digital services to their consumer, their customer, so the consumer is able to enjoy a better shopping experience than finding completely disconnected what they see today when they walk into the store. And this is what's happening. And now if you put it in another context, why is the reason some of the retailers, they're saying their revenue have slowed down, growth has slowed down for some of the retailers. And that revenue or that customer is shifting towards Amazon. Because Amazon, over the last 3 years specifically, through their own Amazon app, they have made it so easy for us to buy a product. Through a couple of clicks, we can complete a purchase. Okay, and that purchase could be much more informed purchase as well, the type of product I'm buying and what the reviews are, all that stuff. So why not to deliver that kind of a digital experience in the physical stores as well? And in fact, these larger retailers, they have an advantage. They have a physical store. Digital aspect of things you can achieve. Okay, it's not that something you have to have on online. Digital aspect you can achieve, and we can deliver that in mobile through this platform we developed. And that's what we have started to do that.
We are running out of time, but I must ask you this question. Last question is that your name is Khan.
Yes.
And this is a very powerful and effectual to me. I grew up with this Khan, with the Bollywood personality. But this name also carries, nowadays, after the elections, I just want to get your 5 cents out of this, that if a Muslim entrepreneur wants to raise money right now, what's the message for that person? I mean, what exactly, despite of there are so many, I don't know the right word, but there are many events are happening which are anti-immigrants right now. What's your...
I think just say stay focused. on the basic business rules. I have not seen, literally, I have not seen any bias in terms of...
because you're in
I'm
Silicon
almost-
Valley.
no, that could be true as well. But at the same time, the VCs are very much focused on basic business sense. They want to make sure they invest in a value proposition that's going to grow and turn into a large value for their, as a return to their investment, but also a contribution into our quality of
So
life.
stay focused. That's your message.
Absolutely.
Right. Thank you, Khan. I appreciate you coming down to our show. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Good to be here.
Yeah.